just around 70 degrees, a nice ocean breeze blowing. Monmouth is always a relaxing place, but today it's exciting also as we make another stop in the American Championship Racing Series. We have reached the penultimate stop, actually, the next to last, that is, in the new series for older horses. It's been a smashing success so far. Looks as if the overall championship and the $750,000 that goes to the winner with it will go down to the final race, the Woodward at Belmont on September 15th, and we'll be there for that one, too. Now, we have an international flavor here today, as well as at Arlington Park. There's an English race 5-year-old named Green Line Express making a rare American start, and an Irish-born horse, Black Tie Affair, whose most recent win was in Nebraska. But most people see this as a great test for Farma Way. Now, as you can see, he is second to Festine in this series. Festine isn't here, so a victory for Farma Way will give him the lead, and his chief challenger on the premises here is Marquetry. Now let's take a look at the specifics of the Iselin Handicap. For 1991, the purse, as we said, $500,000. The distance, 1.1 miles. That's an eighth of a mile shorter than the classic Kentucky Derby distance. You saw that the track was fast and the temperature perfect. Chief Honcho being held at 3-1. The odds are not as expected here. Chief Honcho at 3-1, Great Norman at 16-1, Roanoke at 6-1, and Farma Way expected to be the favorite of surprising 5-1. Instead of which we have Marquetry, who's won 3 in a row, as the favorite at 3-2. Silver Survivor at 25-1. Black Tie Affair with considerable support at 9-2. And Green Line Express at 50-1. That's very, very interesting odds board. I think perhaps the most interesting development of this series so far has been its domination by horses trained and raised primarily in Southern California. Why has that happened? Let's consider the question. Southern California is a place that seems particularly hospitable to young starlets and older horses. The starlets for the obvious reasons. The older horses, well, I don't know exactly why, but the really big races there have always been for the 4-year-olds and up. The Santa Anita Handicap, the Hollywood Gold Cup, the Stroop Series, and all those races that begin with sand. Trainers out there seem to have the patience and skill to nurse horses into their mature years and to make older foreign imports feel at home. So it was not surprising that the winner of this year's Santa Anita Handicap was California trained. His name is Farma Way. Farma Way has a famous trainer, Wayne Lucas, but the horse is the star of the stable because that's the way his owner wants it. George Bunn is a pleasant but self-effacing millionaire who stays in the background. Talk about the horse, says the man who invented the Bun-O-Matic coffee maker. And at the finish of the big cap, everyone was talking about Farma Way. But at Oak Lawn Park in Arkansas, Farma Way ran into an off-track and an Argentine import named Festine. Festine won the race impressively, but was the off-track responsible? Well, Farma Way was back in form for the Pimlico Special and scored a solid victory to take the lead in the American Championship Racing Series. Trainer Lucas smiled and said, "We'll dance every dance that we can in this series, but the road hasn't been easy." There are so many good older horses coming out of California and fanning out across the nation. Marquetry and Roanoke and Farma Way all are here today. Festine, who still leads the series, and Best Pal, a 3-year-old, are waiting in the wings. Consider Marquetry, an import from England. As a long shot in the $1 million Hollywood Gold Cup, this protege of trainer Bobby Frankel suddenly scrambled the picture in the series. And they asked Wayne Lucas, is Farma Way over the top?
I don't think he's over the top. Anytime you take a horse and ship him around the country, and the series was designed to expose these horses to all regions, but we started out in the first one, and when you start going from barn to barn, changing water, feed, and so forth, this is always a telling thing on a horse. The weight loss is a factor and so forth. The other thing is when you meet that head-to-head competition that's so tough, you're bound to leave a little something on the field.
Marquetry didn't leave anything on the field at Hollywood. He won again, and trainer Frankel was raking in the money.
And it's not the idea of how much money I'm going to make and stuff. It's like points on the board, you know. You're just trying to get a lot of points on the board and see where you end up at the end of the year as far as the standings and see who got the most points.
Given the fact that I thought we were having probably the best year of all the horses that participated in the series, we're in probably a catch-up position right now in that we've slipped a little bit, and the scoring system is set up so that you are rewarded a lot for second and third. So I think that we're in a position where in the last two it may get down to the last one.
Fair or unfair, the American Championship Racing Series has generated more interest in the older horses than they've had in years. Another look at the standings with Festine leading Farma Way by 7. Again today, the Californians come east in search of points and money. It's the California Gold Rush in reverse. Well, that it is, and we have a slight change in the odds now. Farma Way expected to be the favorite. Was it 5-1? He's now dropped down to 9-2, we are told. And here are the horses on parade. Number 1 is Chief Honcho. He's been playing second fiddle to In Excess, but In Excess isn't here today, and many people give the Chief a chance. Now, Great Norman is familiar with this track. He's had 2 recent second-place finishes here. Gets an 8-pound break in the weights today. Great Norman. Roanoke has those California credentials. A win at Hollywood in June. California jockey Eddie De La Houssaye on his back. California trainer Neil Drysdale conditions him. And now, let's take a look at Farma Way. He's earned more than $1.5 million this year, but he's been beaten in his last 3 races, and the bettors here must be wondering if he's a tired horse. Marquetry, on the other hand, has been on a roll. Bobby Frankel's colt is looking for his 3rd in a row in the series, and he still gets a 3-pound weight advantage from Farma Way. Silver Survivor is just that. This is the horse who once was almost accidentally left the star. Well, he survives, but he hasn't won since last March down in New Orleans. Black Tie Affair, an interesting horse. He's won 3 in a row in Kentucky, Michigan, and Nebraska, and now he brings his road show to New Jersey. With Pat Day on his back, he has a chance. And it's welcome back to America for Green Line Express. This is Mohammed Pustak's horse. He was born in Kentucky, but he's done almost all of his racing in Europe. Now, having said that, and here's Charles E. Canty. Charles E., still the central figure out here, regardless of the odds, and win or lose, is Farma Way.
And the central issue with Farma Way is whether or not at this point in the season he is a tired horse. As you said, Farma Way is making his 7th appearance in the series. He's crossed the country 3 times, and he's raced at a half a dozen different tracks. Plus, he's a speed horse, so he uses himself every step of the way in every single race. That he's been the beaten favorite in his last 3 starts casts a lot of legitimate doubt. But all this may be deceiving. He's had valid excuses in all 4 of his losses this year. He's been freshened, and he's back at his best distance. And under the handicap conditions, he gives much less weight, only 3 pounds, to his nemesis Marquetry. So this is a pivotal race for Farma Way today. And Jim, in spite of the critics, and in spite of a little dodgy warming up in the post-parade, I'll stick with Farma Way to rebound and turn the tables. Okay, well, we're going to see. You know, we said that this is a very relaxing place. It is for owners, trainers, and especially for the jockeys. The call to the post doesn't summon every jockey for every race, but sitting one out is a pleasure at the Monmouth Park Jockeys Room. Located behind the clubhouse, it's an ideal facility to relax between races. And during the course of a long afternoon, the riders can shed their boots for bathing suits or basketballs.
5 to Farma Way has now dropped to 5-2 at his second choice. Now, as we near post time, we're going to check in with Dave Johnson, who, of course, will be calling the race for us today. First, however, Dave's thoughts on some of the contenders.
Well, in addition to Marquetry and Farma Way, we have an interesting and speedy collection of thoroughbreds, including Silver Survivor, a 5-year-old who has started an unbelievable 55 times in his career, and Green Line Express, who's never raced on a dirt track, and a newcomer to the series, Black Tie Affair. Let's take a look at the major contenders. Black Tie Affair hasn't seen a horse in front of him in 3 months. He won his last 3 by sprinting to the lead and never looking back. Have you ever seen a winner make it look this easy? This is no workout, but this was no real race either. However, media critics have been quick to point out that this Irish bred has not faced any major competition in his last 3 starts.
A lot of people says, well, there was nobody there. Well, that's tough, there was nobody there, but I was there. I got the money. And all these guys that say there was nobody there, they'd love to be there, too.
Although named for a city in Virginia, Roanoke is from Kentucky, but won his first race here in New Jersey. He's had bad luck throughout his career, but was sent to the West Coast and trainer Neil Drysdale this spring. Things got better. In the Californian, Eddie De La Houssaye motored the 4-year-old from last to first, passing Marquetry on the way to the winner's circle. And just like fine wine, Great Norman has gotten better with age. He's a versatile animal who pays his way on turf or dirt. And he pulled the shocker of the fall season last year when he caught a sloppy surface for the Grade 1 Meadowlands Cup and rambled home while Meadowlands fans gasped at the price on the tote board, 181 to 1. Green Line Express is the biggest question mark in the field. He's raced 16 times in 3 seasons, every one of them a turf race. And when he won the silver trophy, he carried 135 pounds that day, which should make today's 112-pound assignment feel like a feather. But watch out for Chief Honcho, who's gotten good, very good this summer. And members of his fan club have rallied to his cause not because of victories, but because of the way he's finished second to In Excess twice. In Excess is not here today.
And so that's the background, remaining the race. There's the starting gate. They'll be moving in very, very soon for the Iselin Handicap. Time now to go up to Dave Johnson for the call of the race. Dave?
This race has everything. A lot of early speed. Look for Black Tie Affair from the far outside, Marquetry and Green Line Express to go to the lead. Farma Way just off the 3 leaders perhaps to the first turn. At the back of the pack will be the late closers, Roanoke and Silver Survivor. Speed has been, well, this has been a speed favoring track this summer, but not today. Speed has not been holding. The middle moves and the big sweeping moves have been the key. They're all in line. We're ready for the start. And they're off. On the outside, Black Tie Affair, middle of the racetrack, Green Line Express. Farma Way is right there third. Toward the inside, Great Normand is fourth, and Marquetry just behind the early leaders. Now past the stands for the first time. And it looks like a speed duel on the front end as Green Line Express on the outside battles with Black Tie Affair. Those two inseparable around the clubhouse turn. Marquetry is in the middle of the racetrack. Farma Way is right there. Great Normand saves ground fifth along the inside. Then a gap of 3 in Silver Survivor, followed by Chief Honcho, and Roanoke is last at the back of the pack, some 15 lengths off the leader. As they move on to the backstretch, the first quarter in a quick 22-2, and that's faster than Spendabuck's first quarter when he set the track and stakes record. Black Tie Affair in front, Green Line Express second, Farma Way on the outside, right there third, and Great Normand, the long shot, saving ground and inching up a closer fourth. Then a gap of 4 lengths, and Marquetry is fifth at this point. Chief Honcho is now sixth along the inside. Then Roanoke, and at the back of the pack, the gray horse, Silver Survivor. The half in 46-2. They're still faster than Spendabuck's record, and they're tightly packed on the front end. Farma Way on the outside makes a move. Along the inside, that's Black Tie Affair, Great Normand right behind the leaders, followed by Marquetry. A quarter of a mile to go, and Farma Way on the outside takes command. Middle of the racetrack, Black Tie Affair is hanging tough in the second spot. Great Normand, the long shot on the inside, is third. Marquetry is behind horses, and on the outside, Chief Honcho. And down the stretch they come. Farma Way digging in on the outside. Black Tie Affair coming back again at the rail. Black Tie Affair with Pat Day on the inside. Wins it by a hair. Farma Way gets the place spot, and Chief Honcho is third. And the final time, 1 minute, 47 4/5 seconds, tying Ali Sheba's time, the 5th fastest Iselin in history.
And so unofficially, and there you see the final time, 1:47 4. Black Tie Affair has won his 4th consecutive race. His last 9 races have each come on a different racetrack. 9 different racetracks. There is owner Jeff Sullivan, 44 years old. He's an automobile dealer. There's the trainer Ernie Poulos, 65 years old. He's never been to Monmouth Park in his life until this week. And you heard him say they'd all like to have been there when he was allegedly beating nothing. Well, he's beaten the good ones today. Pat Day on his back, and that didn't hurt at all, Charlesy.
Guess who?
And there is Black Tie Affair, still unofficial. His trainer normally wears a black tie. I didn't notice in that picture he was. Always wears a black tie to his races. There you saw the unofficial order. And here is Farma Way. Farma Way gets 7 points and now is tied for the lead in the American Championship Racing Series with Festine. Festine, remember, not here today. 1 race to go. 2 horses tied for the lead. That will be the Woodward Stakes at Belmont Park 2 weeks from today on September 15th, and we'll be there for an hour special on that one. So this series is going just as far as it can go. There is Great Normand, who gave a very good account of himself today, the local horse. There is a steward's inquiry, so hold everything. An inquiry is different from an objection, remember. Normally the inquiry comes from the stewards. That indicates they saw something that bothered them, not simply that a jockey is objecting to what another horse did. So stand by, hold all tickets, as they say. We'll be back with those official results and more official winner, but there is a steward's inquiry. The stewards thought they might have seen something in the stretch. There is also an objection that has been lodged by the jockey of Farma Way, Chris McCarron, against the unofficial winner, Black Tie Affair, and Pat Day. Now, Charlesy's down with Wayne Lucas and Chris McCarron.
Well, I've got both of the principals involved here. Now it's getting to be a group here. We've got Wayne Lucas, the trainer. We've got Chris McCarron, the rider, and also Pat Day just stepping out of the picture here. Wayne, you noticed first. What did you see?
You know, about mid-stretch, I thought that Pat came out a little bit. You can't tell without watching a replay in the camera, but I knew that there was a brush or a bump there, and I thought it broke her momentum a little bit. And then after watching it on the replay, you can see that it's going to come right here a little bit, just knocked him off track.
Chris, there you are in the yellow hat coming towards us. Now, Pat Day aboard Black Tie Affair, and the red hat comes to you. Did he bother you?
He bothered my horse, yeah. His horse, Pat, like Pat said, when he switched and hit his horse left-handed, he did get away from the stick a little bit. There was contact. It's up to the stewards to determine how severe it was.
Pat, would you like to defend yourself while you're here?
Well, we did come out and brush, but to be honest with you, Chris had every opportunity from the head of the stretch in Farma Way. You know, they made a run at us and couldn't get by us. I personally, I don't think the little brush, I don't think had that much effect on the outcome. I felt like if we went another 1/8 of a mile, he wasn't going to get by him, you know what I mean? My horse really dug in. He did get away from the left hand just a little bit, and we did brush, but they...
There's the answer. It stays. You win. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I think, Charles, on these kind of races, though, when you're involved with this much money and the prestige of the point system and everything, I think that, you know, you have to have these things reviewed. And when you watch it live, you never know how serious it is. I think it's healthy.
Will you be back at the Woodward with this horse in 2 weeks?
We will. We'll be back at the Woodward. I thought he ran a bang-up race today. We're very, very happy with him. And the series is a series. It's been a lot of fun. It's going to go right down to the wire, and I feel real good about him.
All right, good. We'll see both of you back at the Woodward, and right now we'll go to Dave Johnson.
Let's take a look at the stretch drive from our head-on shot. Here's the eventual winner. That is Black Tie Affair. Here's Farma Way with Chris McCarron, and we're going to watch them as they come through the stretch. Yes, there was contact. It was Pat Day with a left-handed whip, McCarron in the yellow cap with a right-handed whip. There was some bumping, but McCarron never stopped riding and really never got past this horse except way up the 3/16 pole. This was an awesome performance by Black Tie Affair, who now has 4 straight victories, and he finally gets the respect that he deserves because he beat the big boys this afternoon. He attended the fractions. He fought off the 35-to-1 shot Green Line Express, and Farma Way on the outside looked like a winner, but no. It was Black Tie Affair who came on again in the stretch in a surprising and dramatic victory in the Iselin. Jim?
All right, Dave, thanks very much. And here are the results. Black Tie Affair paying the nice price of $10.20, $3.80 and $3.80. Farma Way second, $3.80 and $3.20. Chief Honcho was the show horse at $3.80, the exacta of Black Tie Affair, and Farma Way paying $43.40. And so, for the first time, since the first race in this series at Gulfstream Park, a horse not based in California has won the race. Here is the final order of finish. Black Tie Affair by the neck over Farma Way. Then Chief Honcho in third position, followed by Silver Survivor, Marquetry, Great Norman, Roanoke, and Green Line Express came all the way from England, but in vain. Now let's take a look at the point standings in the American Championship Racing Series. Again, with one race left to go, the Woodward, 2 weeks from today, Festine and Farma Way are tied for the lead. It's expected that both will be there. We've been talking about the California horses here during the last hour. But Black Tie Affair, the winner, almost has no base. As we said, his last 9 wins have been on 9 different racetracks. His last 4 in Kentucky, Michigan, Nebraska, and New Jersey, and he never takes the airplane. He always goes by van. There's Pat Day in the winner's circle, and that's about the story from here. Again, the Woodward Stakes at Belmont Park, coming up 2 weeks from today, September 15th, the first champion of the American Championship Racing Series will be determined at that point. This is Jim McKay saying so long.